Hello, this is Karen Machiavelli here, and today's topic is a little lesson or my explanation, my connection between the dark triad personality from a concept from the personality psychology, together with the Rice model of core human motivation by the CIA. Now, to explain both first, the dark triad is a concept of describing evil personalities, and it consists of three pillars or three factors arranged in a sort of triangle. The first one is psychopathy, the second one is Machiavellianism, and the third one is narcissism. And whenever a person displays one of these three factors in their personality, they are considered to be they're considered to be a part of the dark triad personality type. Whenever a person displays all three of them, all three of these factors in their personality, they're considered to be a full dark triad personality type. This is because a person who is narcissistic can be psychopathic and Machiavellianistic with a certain significant chance. Also, a psychopathic person can be Machiavellianistic and narcissistic at the same time with a relatively high likelihood. Now, and in order to understand what the difference between those three factors, psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissism are, we can look at the Rice model developed and used by the CIA to explain the key differences between these three factors. Now, the Rice model is a model developed to explain the core human motivators, so the aspects that motivate a human to do something. And Rice is an acronym that stands for reward, ideology, coercion, and ego. It's basically used by the CIA to get targets they recruit out in the field to share secrets with them. And depending on what kind of person, from which nationality you're dealing with, you have a different motivator, different core motivator, which that person, that target, responds the strongest to. So a person could be strongly motivated to do something by reward, meaning it could be monetary reward, it could be materialistic reward, and it could be other kinds of rewards, like, for example, climbing a career ladder, which directly leads to a bigger financial gain through more pay or anything else. Now, the other core motivator is ideology, which is often said to be the strongest core motivator, especially in the eastern area of the world, East Asia, for example, because many people do things, live a certain lifestyle because of their ideology. A clear example of that is vegans who don't eat meat because their ideology says that eating meat is bad because it hurts animals and so on. And also, your ideology is in line with your personal values you live by and your personal principles you live by. Most, if not all of us, have certain principles and certain rules in their life that they are not willing to cross. These can be different for everyone. However, this is why it is said to be the strongest core human motivator, because if your actions want to align with your values in order to be a congruent and authentic personality. And if you can get someone to do something in your favor and frame it in a way that fits in their ideology or that supports their ideology, it's the highest likelihood that that person will commit such a thing, such an action. And this is also an example I can give you is the example of terrorists, Islamic terrorists. Those of them that actually commit terrorist attacks, like bombings, killings, or whatever, basically all of them are motivated by their ideology they live by. So their ideology to get revenge on non-believers or to get other people to convert to a believer of the Islamic religion. Now, the people, there are also terrorists that only join terrorist groups in order to get some rewards. And many of them will just simply uncommit from the actions they have sworn to do once they get into another country, because they see that the financial reward they gain through integrating in a certain other country is bigger than the financial reward they'll gain from committing terrorist activities in that country. Now, that's the ideology part. The coercion part is basically avoiding negative emotions or avoiding negative experiences. So coercion is supposed to be the last resort when basically forcing someone to do something when all other methods fail. And it is quite rarely used. And it's basically threatening someone, beating someone, torturing someone, you name it. Now, the last core human motivator, the E in RISE, is ego. People who are motivated by ego respond to everything that hypens up their self-image, which gives them a better view of themselves, which gives them the illusion that people will view them better for committing such an action. People who are strongly motivated by ego will usually live luxurious lifestyles, will take very good care of themselves, will basically buy stylish clothes for no reason, and will also connect with people or talk with people in a way that makes them get perceived better. Now, if we want to talk about the difference, that was the RISE model of core human motivations by the CIA. If we want to talk about the differences between psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissism, we have to take into account all four of these human motivators. And we have to look at each of these personality types isolated. Because there is a common misconception in personality psychology, which also many studied psychologists say, that every psychopath is automatically narcissistic, which is in fact not the case. It's a very high likelihood that someone with psychopathy is automatically narcissistic. However, there are some cases of psychopaths that are actually not narcissistic. A good example I could give you is that a psychopath who is not narcissistic, stepping over my words right now, a psychopath who is not narcissistic will be able to present himself in such a way that other people will look down on him just to get a certain reward. So basically, your pure psychopath would do anything to get a reward that he finds valuable. While a narcissist would not present himself in a way that shines a bad light on him in order to get the reward, because the ego of the narcissist is a stronger motivator than the reward, meaning a narcissist will essentially also commit evil actions, unethical actions, in order to preserve the good light or the good image that he sees himself as. For example, a narcissist could coerce people into not sharing any kind of secrets those people know about him, which would shine him in a bad light. While a psychopath would not necessarily care about that unless the getting shined in a bad light is connected to a loss of reward, loss of monetary reward. Now, Machiavellianism, on the other hand, is a very interesting one because Machiavellianism is very hard to explain. They kind of like act like psychopaths, but the whole motivation, the whole principle is different. Usually in personality psychology, a good way to describe Machiavellianism is with the saying, what was the saying again? The ends justify the means. Basically, a Machiavellianist would commit all kinds of stuff in order to reach an ulterior motive, in order to reach an ulterior goal. Let it be the transformation of society, let it be the preservance of his ideology, the preservance of some kind of tradition or whatever. Meaning that in order to reach a certain goal, which is higher, which is more ideological, which is more spiritual, the Machiavellianist is ready to commit atrocities because the ends justify the means. Meaning that the Machiavellianist is mainly ideology focused, mainly ideology motivated. Now, you might have noticed that the last core motivator, the coercion part, I haven't spoken about that. Now, the reason for that is that we also have to look at people who are not psychopathic, Machiavellianistic, and narcissistic. And if we want to explain how good people turn bad, for example, a good wife that gets married to a bad husband turns bad, is that basically the good wife wants to avoid negative experiences or negative emotions, and therefore the bad husband could coerce the wife into betraying her own ethics, betraying her own ethic principles, and, for example, not expose to everyone that the husband has stolen, I don't know, $500,000 from his own company. And this, of course, in and of itself, it's like not the best example because it's not the most unethical thing to do to, well, not snitch on someone. But this can be, there are many examples of wives or other family members who have been pulled into the bad people's lives by being coerced into it and getting criminalized themselves. And this is where the fourth motive, the coercion motive, comes into play. That people who do not respond to psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissism can also turn bad simply because of bad influence or simply because of being pressured into becoming bad. Now, of course, this is all only a connection I have made. This could be criticized. For example, the Rice model does not necessarily take into play that people are also motivated simply by survival. If you strip away all kind of resources a person has, a person will have to do anything for survival, which could also lead to unethical things. That being said, This is also something to take account of when it comes to critically thinking about it. If you have any criticism regarding this connection I have made, feel free to leave a comment down below. And thank you for watching.